In this lecture, we are going to look at graphing polynomials. So this first equation is a quadratic. It says y equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. The first thing that we need to do is find the x-intercepts. So I'm going to do that by using the quadratic formula. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4, minus 4ac divided by 2a. So now to simplify this more, x equals negative 2 plus or minus everything that is on the inside of the square root. If I plug it in the calculator, it equals 16, and then the square root of 16 is going to be 4 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. Now I need to split this up, so I have x equals negative 2 plus 4 divided by 2, and then x equals negative 2 minus 4 divided by 2. So my x-intercepts are going to be x equals 1 and x equals negative 3. So now I want to go ahead and graph that on my coordinate plane. So I go to x equals 1, and then I go to x equals negative 3. The next thing we need to do is find the vertex. So to find the vertex, I'm going to find my x value, and that's done with the equation x equals negative b over 2a. So it's going to be x equals negative b, and b is going to be 2, over 2a, and my a is going to be 1. So my x value is going to simplify to negative 1. Now, this negative 1, that's my x value. I need to plug it back into the equation to figure out my y value. So I get y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. When this is all simplified in the calculator, I get y equals negative 4. So my vertex is going to be at negative 1 comma negative 4. So now I can graph that. And the last thing I need to do is make my parabola. So I'm going to connect all the dots into a U shape, which is called a parabola. In this example, we are going to graph a cubic function. So the first thing I need to do is factor it out. So I'm going to group the first two terms together and the second two terms together. Well, the only thing to come out of the first set of terms is going to be x squared. And everything left over, if I pull out x squared, I get x plus 1. Now for the second set of terms, I see I have two negative 4's. So I'm going to try pulling out a negative 4. And I'm left with x plus 1. So now I put the two greatest common factors together, x squared minus 4, and then x plus 1. Now I realize that this part right here can still be factored. I can put x plus 2 and then x minus 2. That's called difference of squares. So these are my x values, because I can take x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. Now I solve for x, and here I get x equals negative 2, x equals 2, and x equals negative 1. These are my x-intercepts. So to graph it, I put one at negative 2, positive 2, and negative 1. Now, the last thing you need to look at is the sign at the very beginning, above the x3. That is going to be a positive, which means my graph is going to curve up to the right. If it was negative, my graph would curve down as I go to the right. So when I make my graph, I'm going to start by going up, back down, and up again.